What's up, everybody? RobLive here with Jim. We just finished our last day of school. As many of you know, we're educators.
Yep.
Do we have a
nice.
DJ sound for that? Some kind of party sound for that one?
It's a...
What is it? Yeah.
It's everything.
It's a party now. Baby girl. Never heard that song yet?
Baby girl?
Yeah.
No?
That's a Drake Nokia song. It's stuck in my head.
No.
I'll sing it later. So I'm really excited that school is out. You know, I love it. But, you know, Jim, right? Too much of a good thing?
It is. You know, I saw something the other day, and we'll jump into this, but someone said we are educators who are at 100 miles an hour all year long. And now we just hit the brakes, and then what?
Well, it's weird. It's hard to decompress, right? Because you're going. And now I feel like I've got to get some lesson plans for Monday, but then Monday's not happening.
I'm already stressed for next year. That's what's crazy about this.
You're looking real far ahead.
Yeah.
See that, folks? That's the life of the educator. I know we get summers off, but, you know. Anyway, I want to do a quick plug with you guys. It's kind of a cross plug. Jim and I had another channel called Two Hungry Teachers. We're going to do our first episode in, 3 years?
Yeah.
So we're going to put the link in today's RobLive episode. Click over and check that out as well. We're going to be talking about some teacher stuff. It's called 200 Teachers. 200, wait, what did I say? 200 Teachers?
We're not tweaking.
Tweakers, 200 tweak. 2 hungry tweakers. No, but when we stopped doing that, because, you know, it was a lot. We'll explain that on the first episode back. But now we've kind of changed it, gone direction there. And now we're going to talk about some issues and topics within the teaching community. So if you are a teacher or an educator of any type and you want to discuss some topics, tune in to 2 Hungry Teachers. We'll get you a link at the end of this episode. But for today, we're doing something a little different. And Jim has talked about this for a while. And other people have brought it up and said, hey, Rob, you kind of just jumped in and you did one episode about Jim, but we really haven't learned enough about the both of you guys. And part of buying into a channel is to know the people behind it. Right, you buy into who they are, and if we haven't given you a clear picture of who we are, number one, I apologize for that. But number two, we're going to address that today because our guest is, it's us. It's me, me and Jim. Do you have a wonk?
No, there's a wide shot with no one next to you though. Got that one, yeah.
That's good.
So
anyway, guys, we're going to tell various stories from things that have happened to us in our past. And today I wanted to talk about the story that has led me to where I'm at today and hanging out with Jim. And so, Jim, the story is, how did Rob end up in the movies?
You were in movies?
I was in. I like how you're playing that. You're in movies.
Yeah,
okay, so Jim knows about one. He doesn't know all 3 movies that I was able to be a part of. And I'm saying this very loosely because, you know, when you do extra work, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a featured actor with speaking parts and that you're now part of SAG, right? Screen Actors Guild. But you do get the full experience sometimes with the trailer and everything. So we're going to go into it today, and we're going to call this episode The Time Rob Was in a Movie. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, yeah. So we're going to start from the beginning. So, Jim, as you know, from London, right? Small community out here in the Valley.
Yep.
You're from Orosi.
Yep.
Cutler.
Cutler, yeah.
So we both understand this idea that being in a small town, you're kind of isolated sometimes from the rest of the world. It's not the same now because of technology. So now if I wanted to see what's happening in Paris or the latest song released in Australia, I have the internet. But back in 1991, when we both graduated high school, that didn't exist. So it really felt like if I wasn't in a specific location like LA or New York or San Francisco, you know, where big things are happening, that it was almost like I was missing the boat on some things. Did you kind of feel that?
Yeah. I mean, unless you made a long distance phone call to your buddies with the
distance
and maybe paid attention to your television set. You know, you didn't really have anything outside to tell you what's going on as it was happening. So the world was moving whether we knew it or not.
Yeah, it wasn't happening in real time.
Yeah.
The only things that were like real time would be like maybe the New Year's Eve or sporting events, right? We'd watch those live on television. And so for us, long story short, Hollywood and movies and and the whole entertainment industry was very far removed from us. It was something that would visit the valley and then move on.
It would tease us.
Yeah, like a concert, right? What was your first concert?
Oh shoot. Jump. Who are they?
Crisscross?
Crisscross. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, tell us the venue.
And Mary J. Blige at the St. Mark's Center. It was at the Selland Arena.
Selland Arena.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was your first concert.
Yeah.
And what were you in high school or?
I think just graduated.
Yes,
my
I
parents
think
wouldn't let me.
In high school.
Yeah, you had to be 18 or something, and I bought my own ticket. So
my first one was also the Selland Arena. For those not from the Fresno area watching us today, Selland Arena used to be our main venue for concerts. We've now grown into the Save Mart Center, but back then, in 1991, any major act that came through the Central Valley would perform at Selland Arena. So I go, and my very first concert was MC Hammer.
Oh,
yeah, that was my junior year as MC Hammer. People from the Bay Area, Oaktown 357, Troop from Pasadena, Altadena area, and then who was the other act? I think those were the three. And so, right, we go to the concert. We're excited. We are this close to entertainers, and then they get on the tour bus and they're gone.
Yeah.
That's it. We don't follow up with them. There's no behind the scenes. We don't have them as friends on Instagram because, again, social media did not exist at that time. So you kind of felt removed from entertainment. And so my story begins when the entertainment industry became something very real and tangible in my life. And I owe that 100% to Gloria Racy, my mother. Right? So here's the story. I'm a senior in high school. And I'm going to class, and in passing, I see some friends in the hallway, and one of them says, "Bro, I saw your mom on The Price is Right." I said, "The show with Bob Barker?" Now the new comedian does it. I can't remember his name, but Bob Barker was a host back then. And I was like, "Are you sure you're talking about my mom, Gloria?" And they're like, "Dude, I know your mom. I've been to your house. It's her." And so,
why were you questioning that? You didn't know your mom was going?
Okay, again, internet. Oh, that's a no. See, this is a perfect Jim question.
Okay.
So my mom,
my mom would be nuts telling everybody, guess where I'm going tomorrow.
No, that's a perfect. See, this is why Jim gets paid the big bucks. Not really yet.
Minimum wage.
Yeah. So here's the deal. My parents separated. They divorced when I was a freshman, and my mom, she just couldn't be there anymore. And so she moved away, and she was living in Los Angeles with my uncle.
Okay, yeah.
And again, there's no internet, there's no texting, there's no cell phone. So periodic phone call. And by the way, guys, I'm gonna blow your mind. Phones used to be on a wall with a cord, and and if you weren't home when the phone rang, you didn't get the call.
Unless you had a stupid answer machine that made it sound like Chip and Dale.
So anyway, I don't see my mom on a regular basis. An occasional phone call, right? Letters, whatever. And so I don't know which.
So you had moved out by this time?
No, I'm living in London, California with my dad and my sister and my brother. My mom moved to Los Angeles with my uncle, and she's doing her own thing, just trying to find herself. She was a young mom at 16. And so since 16 and raising us, so she really hadn't had a chance to explore the world. And so now she's like, you take care of the kids. They're going to high school. I'm going to go explore. And so she goes out and she ends up on the show. She went to the Grand Showcase. She didn't just go on the show. I mean, everything that can go right on The Price is Right happened for her. Those who know about it, you have to spin this wheel. And if the wheel hits $1, you win 1,000. She hit 30 cents and then 70 cents. We're going to put the link to the video of her spinning that in today's description. So anyway, she does that. And now she's on television, right? And so now she's got a bug, that taste for like, oh, I can be on TV. I can entertain people. The producers like me. So she signs up with Central Casting. So the way casting agencies worked back in the days, you did a picture, a physical headshot, and then a file with the description of things you could do. Jim can juggle. Jim knows he was a mascot, right? Anything that could be applied to a movie, right? Sports, anything. And so my mom had a file with Central Casting, and they call you. You call this 800 number to check in. Hey, any jobs today? And then sometimes if a casting director finds your headshot, they call you. Hey, we've got this movie. We need a couple people in the background, whatever. So my mom starts getting work. And one thing she did is Little Shop of Horrors. It's uncredited because the original main actor did most of the work. There's a scene where
the original. Yeah,
Steve Martin plays the dentist.
Yeah, wow.
And he has a nurse, right? And she's falling all over the place. It's kind of comical.
Yeah.
Well, she passed in the middle of
filming.
So they needed a kind of like body extra. Gloria Racy, enter. Wow. So sure, her name's not in the credits because the main actress passed and they needed someone to finish the scene. So it was my mom. So it was kind of her body double. So that was her first step into it. And then she did a couple other things that were pilots. You know how a pilot works?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if the pilot, right, which is a proposal to the studio, hey, look at this sample episode.
It's putting all your eggs in one basket for an hour episode, or give or take.
Yes, and if people like it, if they respond, the test audience. And so she did a pilot with Carol Burnett and Harvey. I think Harvey Korman is that his name?
Yeah.
Right. So all these big names, but it didn't get picked up. So there's a lot of stuff that she did that didn't get picked up. But the one that did get to film, and is probably her most known for, and again, we'll give you the link, guys, to back up what we're saying. It's Round Trip to Heaven with Corey Feldman. Now, Corey Feldman's co-star for this one is the Gremlins, the main star of Gremlins. I think his name's Zach something, right?
The boyfriend.
The boyfriend and the one who was given the Mogwai.
Yeah.
And then put it in water like we told him not to.
Yep.
Right. So he's in this movie. And for those who are, our age, 50 or older, or maybe even 40, if you're around in the 80s, there was these kind of 80s and 90s movies that were like teen movies. And they were about fun and dating and parties. Well, it was kind of a fun teen movie called Round Trip to Heaven, where these two guys go out to Palm Springs and stay at this hotel for the Miss America pageant. And, they fall in love with some of the contestants. Anyway, as the story goes, it all takes place in a hotel. My mom played a maid at the hotel, right? And yes, my mother is Mexican. And so, the stereotype back then is, right, you got the maid jobs, sometimes the occasional gangster role. It was the 80s, all right? We've evolved now, but back then that was kind of the gig that you would get in a movie. So she's in this movie, Jim, and I don't know that it's happening, right? Mm-hmm. And my mom's a nurse by trade, like that was her original job. So Corey Feldman, who's in the movie, he was at the time struggling with addiction. I'm not sure what drug he was on, but, he's on set. He's trying to get himself composed, and he's struggling with drugs, so he needed some medical attention. So my mom kind of becomes the resident nurse on set with Corey. And so they're spending hours on it.
This is not part of the film. This is behind the scenes.
No, this is behind the scenes.
Oh, okay.
So she's hanging out with Corey Feldman and kind of becomes his resident nurse and, checks on him. My mom has these little concoctions that she's created that actually work. Like if you're dehydrated, you take some water and you add some sugar and salt, right? And it kind of creates like this electrolytes cocktail. And so she would make that for him to help hydrate him and keep him healthy. So she makes the movie. She's in one scene as a nurse, and she discovers these two guys hiding in a closet, and she runs away.
No, as a maid.
As a
She
maid.
was a maid, not the nurse.
What did I say? I said nurse? Yeah, maid. But here's the funny part, Jim. They dubbed her voice. They didn't use her original voice.
Her scream. Didn't she scream?
Oh, that was not her.
Oh.
That is somebody else coming in. Right, and they did the voice part, and so they were like, "Ay, ay, 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 ¿qué está pasando aquí?" Right, the most like
Hispanic woman speaking.
My mom did not like the voice they chose for her, and people watching are thinking, "Oh, that's her voice," so she's always embarrassed about that scene. But the bigger picture here, Jim, is that I eventually get to see this movie, and for the first time ever, the person that I'm closest to, the person that raised me, my mother, is on a television screen in a movie. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that does to the way you see the world?
Does or did to you?
Yeah, for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, totally.
It opened up this whole world. It said, wait a minute. I know my mother, and I love her, but she's a very normal, everyday person. Mm-hmm. So if she can be in a movie, then it's possible for me, right? And I think I've talked to you about this, the Janet Jackson effect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna test Jim real quick because let's see. Give it back to me. Do you remember my theory?
Other than are you talking about the Super Bowl?
No, not the exposure.
The
of
reason
Janet
I'm
Jackson.
bringing that up is because she was starting to fall off the wagon or fall off the spectrum of not popularity because she was.
Oh, and so this was her stunt
and
to
it
get
brought her back in a negative way per se. But
I see.
that's what I was thinking.
Okay, so the Janet Jackson effect is the fact that Janet was born into a family
Okay.
where by the time she's 5 or 6 years old and kind of has some idea of what's happening around her, she's got 5 brothers who are world famous on tour, on stage, on radio, and on television. Now, these same 5 boys she lives with. So she don't have them on a pedestal because Jackie leaves his dirty clothes on the floor.
Tito didn't go very far.
Right. Well, but you know what I'm saying? Like the Jackson 5 as a whole, where they were a super group.
Can you imagine living under that type of atmosphere?
That's what she had, though.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson, one of the most, arguably one of the most talented artists ever, is your brother. But you know Michael, he's very human, he's very real. So the Janet Jackson effect is that we normalize these sort of great aspirations because we see them being accomplished by people we know intimately. And so now it's real for me, right? If Jim became a rock star, his younger brother, Michael, would look at that and go, I can do it too. Well, what do you mean, Michael? That's Jim. Like, he's nothing special. He's my brother, right? So now it's within my reach.
It's funny that I have this. It's called my go figure effect. It's like go figure, right? I just saw a preview of Adam Sandler coming out with Happy Gilmore Part 2, and he has his wife, his daughter. It's like everybody that's associated to him and his family. It's like, really, go figure. You know,
but he's normalized a very unique and difficult experience to accomplish.
Well,
right?
and he has those connections now. Yeah.
So now Janet is like, oh, well, I can make a song. Michael made one. My brothers make one. I can perform. I can dance. All my family does it. It's a very normal thing. Wayans family, same thing, right? They were all funny. They were all talented. They were on the same show together. And people would argue that the only reason the younger brothers were on the show was because their brother, Keenan Ivory Wayans, was a producer. However, after In Living Color ends, Sean and Marlon go on to do great things on their own, right? So it's yes, your family opens doors and helps you in certain ways, but you're equally talented and you have the mindset that I can do this, right? And so my mom did that for me. I see her in the movies. I'm like, oh, cool, I could be in a movie. And so sure enough, by the end of my senior year, my brother, he's out there now, right? And he's with Universal Studios and he's doing extra work. Now, those for the 80s, 90s, look this one up. It's called City Slickers. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, really.
So the opening scene of City Slickers, it's about these guys, like they're 40-somethings, and they're trying to reinvigorate their lives and do exciting things. And so they go to Spain for the running of the bulls, right? Well, that was not Spain. That was the back lot at Universal Studios, right? And the running of the bulls, the street they do that on is actually part of the studio tour. It's the cobblestone streets. My brother calls me and says, hey, you're skipping school tomorrow, and you're going to come to Universal Studios and make a movie with me. I've been there for 2 weeks. I'm getting paid like $100-$200 a day, and I want you to experience this, right? So I go with them for the day. We leave. I mean, going straight from London to Universal Studios. I mean, the contrast, right? And so we're there, Jim. We get backstage, and now we're on the back lot, right? I'm on the tour. Where the tour is, I'm like, the tram goes right through here. I'm standing here. It's like disbelief. And they gave us these costumes. We're in all white with a red sash, like the running of the bulls. And then they say, okay, makeup's coming. I'm like,
so you didn't have no prep, nothing? Your brother's the one that just said, I need this guy.
Yeah, because extra work, most of the time, you don't have lines. You don't necessarily have to be, an actor. They need bodies in the background.
Now, is this with Billy Crystal and...
That's right.
Yeah.
Billy Crystal. Yeah. Now, they're not on set.
No, obviously.
A lot of these extra back scenes happen when they're gone. And so the scene is the people are running from the bulls. And so you got a bunch of guys in white outfits with a red sash. And they say, makeup. So makeup comes around. Makeup is a girl with a big bucket of dirt, and she's wiping dirt all over us because we have to look like, we can't look crystal clean
Yeah.
when we're running from bulls.
Sure.
And so I got makeup on my face, on my dirt. I poured coffee on accident on my crotch. It was bad, right? So it's me, my brother, and 2 friends from London, Tony and George, and we're on the back lot. And I'm like, well, what do I do? He said, okay, just follow. And the director has a bullhorn. All right, guys, we're going to let the bulls go. Don't worry, these are not real bulls. These are cows, and we have taped fake horns to them. And they're going to run at you, but really, they're just trying to run past you, so don't panic and just kind of try to stay out of the way. I think about it now, it was an insurance nightmare.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
Because you can still get trampled.
Yeah, exactly.
But what they did is they would open the gate where the cows are, and they would shoot cap guns, right? It'd scare them, and then they'd run at us, and then we would run as if they're running at us, but they're really trying to get past us. And then we had pieces of newspaper to kind of smack them on the butt. Sorry, PETA.
Yeah.
Right. Is it PETA?
Yeah.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah. So this is what's happening. And I'm like, I'm on the set of a movie. I'm a senior in high school. There's a director, the cameras.
Now, let me go back.
Yeah.
Did that phone call to your mom start knowing that, hey, I'm headed with Gus to your brother to...
Well, she got him going.
Oh, okay. So this was a premeditated... They already knew. Like, your mom knew what to do, and she kind of coached you on...
how to get to it.
Yeah.
And so she got him signed up, and then when he called me, they said, hey, we just need extra bodies. And so you register, you give your socials, because they're going to give you a check.
Yeah.
Right? And so you write everything out. And so for about 8 hours that day, we ran up and down the cobblestone.
So now let me ask you this question, because I'm the behind the scenes guy.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to be aware of where the camera is pointing to make sure that, as a kid, I would imagine, are you trying to get in that frame?
Oh.
Right? Or are you just being the guy behind another guy who's behind another guy saying, I'll never be on frame?
I was pretty starstruck because it was my very first one, right? Yeah. So I was pretty much the guy behind the guy. I couldn't tell where the cameras were.
So
there was multiple cameras.
So I'm just saying, oh, that was my leg. I always laugh at people who say, oh, that was the side of my shoulder. It's like, really?
I'm nowhere in sight. I know I was there because I have a paycheck.
Sure.
And I was physically running up. My brother's right there. I'll show you where he's at in the scene. And that's on my YouTube channel as well. But anyway, up and down. And then there's this is a crazy part for me. There's a food truck that makes food, inside. I'd never seen food trucks at this time. And you could go up to it at any time of day and ask for an egg sandwich or a burger, whatever you wanted at any time. And so when the downtime comes, I'm just going to grab stuff because it's free.
It's free. You're on your 4th meal already.
Yeah, and then you have the big sit-down meal with all the actors, and you see some of the stars or whatever. They're at a different table, and you see them eating, and you're like, and you know who I remember? Now, again, I apologize. If you're not from the 80s, 90s, this may not make any sense to you, but there was a commercial back in the day. I believe it was a chili, like a Dennison's chili commercial, and it's like cowboys sitting around a fire, and there was an old guy named Cookie. Cookie was the cook, and I don't know if you remember, he had a white beard. Pretty famous commercial guy, and he was eating. He reminds me of Blue from Old School. That's my boy, Blue,
That's my
right?
boy, yep.
He looked, it might have been him when he was younger, but he was there, and I saw him like, I know him. So anyway, back and forth, Universal Studios. Now, the downtime, you're loose back there in the back lot. So I'm walking behind some of the sets, and they had
no security, just
no,
keeping you in.
Yeah, no, not really.
Jeez.
And the trams going by, it's unreal what it was. Anyway, it left a huge impression on me, and it left this hunger because at the end of that day, my brother put us all in the car and drove us back to London. And so now I'm back at school the next day, and I've got
and no phone to take pictures.
No, and no proof that it happened.
Yeah.
Except, and all my friends are calling me liar, right? But the biggest thing, Jim, was like, I had a taste of what is out there. I'm no longer ignorant to this whole world, and I wanted more. So fast forward to college now, and I sign up for Central Casting, and I can't work during the school year because I'm playing soccer and I'm at Hancock College. Go Bulldogs. And during the summer, though, I got 2-3 months. So in this summer, I'm at home at my dad's in London, and my mom calls me because she's now living in San Pedro. And she says, hey, you need to come up. They're calling my phone. They're looking for you. And I go, what is it? They want you to play a lawyer in the movie.
Out of all those people that were running there,
No. They didn't find me from there.
they want the guy who spilled the coffee on his.
No, they didn't find me from that movie.
Oh, okay, all right.
Remember,
But
there's there's a casting agency.
There you go.
And this they have a whole file of headshots and descriptions of people.
So whether you made it on that other little scene of the bull, they just saw your mugshot.
I didn't even have a mugshot when that bull thing happened. They just needed bodies for that one.
Okay.
Afterward, I signed up. I got a
I
mugshot, and now a casting agent finds my headshot, says this guy's going to be the lawyer in our movie. And I'm in London, and I don't know how this works.
How old were you at this time?
I was probably about 19, 20. But now, Jim, hey, I'm a star. It's over. It's a wrap. I'm going to be an actor now. It's over.
That's
I made it.
That's wrong.
Yeah. Because that's how much I knew how this works. And so I go to my mom's and I say, Gus, I don't own a suit. I don't have any nice shoes. And at the time, Gus was doing real estate and doing really well. He had a lot of suits and nice shoes. He goes, look, dude, these are my Italian shoes. Don't get them scuffed and wear this suit. And I was like, thank you. And I go, it's a courtroom scene. Your clothes are going to be fine. It's a one day shoot. And he's like, do you have lines? And I go, I don't know. And I'm like, I don't have a script. I don't know my lines, right? I'm so
ahead of it.
Yeah. And so wrong. So I show up, and it looks like this kind of abandoned warehouse.
So they didn't tell you where. They just wanted you to have a suit.
They just said, you're a lawyer, dress like a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
That was the direction.
That was it, yeah.
Dress like a lawyer.
Jeez, yeah.
So I start watching Perry Mason and all these shows. Oh, yeah, nope, they're all wearing suits. Okay, it's a suit. So I wear the suit. I got my brother's $300 Italian shoes.
Jeez.
I've never had shoes over $50 at that point, except for my British Knights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ooh, BKs. So anyway, I show up on set. I'm nervous. I don't know anyone, and I'm by myself. Right. And I'm in downtown LA. And it looks kind of like an abandoned warehouse, but they've made it look like a courthouse. And I'm like, this is it. This is a courtroom. So I think I'm going to go in, and there's going to be a judge, and I'm going to sit on this side like the movies. And I get there, and I'm like, there's no courtroom. It's just an exterior, the outside of a courthouse. So whatever I'm doing, it's outside. Uh-oh. Right? So I'm still in the dark. The director says, hey, go back there and just wait. We'll tell you when we're ready for you. So anyone who wants to get into Hollywood, when you first start, I don't even know. I mean, I'm sure it's still the same. When you make a movie, it's hurry up and wait. They want you there at 6 a.m., but they don't use you till about 8 that night.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And you just sit and sit and sit. And that's why if the big names, they have trailers. Because they can do whatever they want in the trailer and not be frustrated and, go over their lines, even take a nap. It's a long process. So I'm sitting there in the back waiting as they're shooting other scenes. And then there's a guy back there. His name was Rowdy. I'm still connected to him on LinkedIn. And Rowdy says, hey, bro, is this your first time? I'm like, yeah. He goes, don't worry about it, man. I've died in so many movies. You're going to be fine. I'm like, wait, what? He goes, oh, you haven't seen the script? I go, no. He goes, yeah, you're going to get killed. And I'm like, what? So what do I do? And so we're back there, and he's showing me. He's like, dude, you have to drop, and you just have to be dead weight. You can't, stop your fall. It doesn't look real, right? Now,
but someone else is coaching you, not the ones in charge?
No, yeah, just another actor named Rowdy.
Oh.
Right, so you're starting to put. Is this a high budget film, Jim?
No, because they don't have people that tell you what to do yet.
There's
Just
no dressing room. There's nothing. There's no script. It's a low budget film, and I didn't realize that, right? And so he's teaching me how to die and how to fall back, and I'm very grateful to him. And then finally, like, all right, we need you. You're up, and I'm like, okay. And they take me outside of the courtroom, and they say, you're walking out of the courtroom. The guy who you put in jail has just been released. And he wants revenge upon you because you put him out in jail for like 10 years. You're the prosecutor. And so he wants to take you out. So they choreographed a scene where I'm getting beat up. And I'll give you guys the link where, and they're like, okay, we're going to push on your chin, snap. Push, snap, right? So it looks. And then we're going to hit you in the stomach. And then, 2 to the stomach, 1 to the face. So we timing it. Boom, boom, right, left, right. It's a dance. And I've got about 5 minutes of rehearsal to learn this dance. Now, if I make the wrong dance move and I come in and you're going chin on me, I'm getting clocked, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I was never so focused on remembering. And so it's stomach, chin, throw you in the car. Well, everything went well. But when they threw me in the car, I hit my head on the top of the car as I'm going in. And so now I'm really dazed for real. And so I'm dazed and the camera's up on me. And then they close the door and they drive off. And as we're driving off camera, we're off camera now. And the actor's like, dude, that was so convincing. Like, you really look dizzy. And I was like, thanks. And a big old lump forming on my head, right?
Blood coming down your eyeball.
But I will tell you, Jim, one of the most impactful moments was you see these full-size real cameras and action. What are these called? I should know by now. The Q card or Q?
Yeah, it's something like that.
It's for editing, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
So he brought it out in front of me. Blood Justice, take 1, action. And I see the red light on the camera go on, and it was a surreal moment. I'm like, right now, I'm making a movie. Now, it didn't matter how big or small it is.
Or low.
But I'm making a movie,
budget,
Jim.
yeah.
And it just it gave me such confidence. So I get beat up, I get thrown in the car, but it doesn't stop there. Then they drive me down to the LA River and said, okay, you're going to try to escape from the car, and you're going to get shot in the back. Excuse me? Yeah, we're going to shoot you in the back. Now, mind you, Jim, do you remember the Crow?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, in the Crow, what happens to...
I know exactly what happened, but was this before the Crow?
No, it was after.
So you knew all about...
I knew
Brandon
that
Lee and
Brandon Lee
everything.
was accidentally shot on the set of The Crow because there was a bullet lodged in what should have been a blank
A slug, yeah. Mm-hmm.
slug. And so I had to sign a form that said I would not, that my family would not pursue legal action if I were to die on that set. Right? And I'm like, oh my God. I sign it, and they said, sprint down, and when you hear the pop, drop. Right? Now I'm running down, you know where the LA River is? It's like in every
I've seen
major
it. Yeah,
movie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Grease, where they had the race.
Terminator, all of them.
Yeah, LA River. There's no mattress, no pad. It's just me, my $300 shoes, and my suit.
And concrete.
Concrete. And we're doing this take about 15, 20 times.
Oh, there goes your shoes.
There goes my shoes. There goes my brother's. So what I did is I found a dirty mattress, covered it with grass or whatever, and I sprinted the same speed every time so that when he hit the gun, I'd be near the mattress. And sometimes I was there. Sometimes I missed it about 15, 20 times. But every time he shot, Jim, my heart stopped because I was like, is this going to be a real bullet this time? I was really scared.
Wow.
Which made the scene convincing.
Sure, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Man, he fell really well.
So now I've torn up the shoes. The suit's tattered, right? This is my brother's suit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's lunchtime. Now, remember, I had been on the Universal set with the all-you-can-eat and the buffet.
Yeah.
They brought in some Domino's pizza, and we all kind of sat. The cool thing about the low budget is that the director, the assistant director, the boom, the mic, we're all together at the same table eating. It's a small set. We're not separated. So I can talk to the director directly as I'm eating pizza and ask him. I remember one guy on the set, because a lot of these actors have done other stuff, right? And sometimes you do big name stuff, but you're not a big name in it. And so I remember them telling me, yeah, Eddie Murphy, he's kind of a jerk. And they're talking to these big name people and telling me what they're like in person.
Was that crazy?
Yeah. And no, it was surreal. So then they send me home, and I'm driving home, and now the suit is just ruined. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take my check, and I'm going to buy my brother some shoes and a suit. I got the experience. That was great. But I'm going to use my check. I'm going to give him my check.
Yeah.
You ready?
You owe him.
You ready for the check?
Yeah.
$40. Okay, now remember, Universal Studios.
8-hour day or longer?
8-hour day.
Oh.
Doing your own stunts. your own wardrobe, $40. Now, Universal Studios, I was not even in the movie. I get edited out. I'm running up and down. $150 for the day.
Well, the size budget of the film.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you see, right?
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, oh, that's how this works. Now, there's no internet yet. There's nothing. This is 1995. I don't know what happened to the film. I just got a check mailed to me, and I saved the stub, and that was it. I just thought, okay, it's over.
There's no...
Well, then the internet and YouTube comes out years later. The movie was never released in the United States. I didn't know what happened to it. I thought it got scrapped. They don't follow up with you. Then the internet comes out, and I find the movie online. The movie was distributed and subtitled directly to Russia. Blood Justice.
Russia?
Serge Rudnitsky is the director. And so this American action film is in Russia. And so it went straight to video. And so somewhere...
It made more than $40, though.
yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Jeez.
but you know, that is the
price you had
experience.
to pay.
And that's the price. So you know what IMDb is? The Internet Movie Database.
Yeah.
It shows all movies that were ever made and the cast. If you look at Blood Justice from 1995 cast, it says Alan Robert E. Scardo Jr.
Blood Justice.
Blood Justice. Oh, don't worry.
Yeah.
We're putting all the links on this one. No, and nobody's looking for nothing. I'm going to show you guys everything we're talking about. So anyway, that was the time I got to make a movie. And then after that, I did one more. Biodome. You ever heard of that one?
Seriously, would Pauly Shore.
Oh, you know the movie.
Oh, I know Pauly Shore.
Of course, Jim would know Biodome. Nobody knows Biodome, but Jim knows.
Two guys that get stuck in that dome
Yeah,
at
so-
the end of the world, or it was a test. It was some kind of
Yeah, it was like
experiment.
So Biodome
Oh, my gosh.
is Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin.
Baldwin, yeah.
But Stephen Baldwin at the time, he's got dreads for that part. So I didn't recognize him. And they needed party goers.
Yeah.
So I show up that night to the party goer scene. And this is what's surreal about that. Again, it's the Universal backlot where they had the Biodome. But guess where they built the Biodome right next to? Camp Crystal Lake.
Oh, serious?
The cabin in the lake. So you have to cross by the lake to get to the set of Biodome.
Now, was that information that just spread around the set that everyone knew, or you?
No,
already
I'm
knew?
looking at it and going, I've seen Friday the 13th, 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's it.
That's it. Now the lake is way smaller, you know.
Yeah.
And the exterior scenes are a bigger lake somewhere else.
Wasn't Biodome? I don't remember correctly. Was it in a desert? Was it more of a plantation with food and everything inside? Right.
Yeah, it was a dome inside
With produce and trees and everything. But I thought it was in a desert.
Well, the
area.
exterior shots are the desert.
Okay.
But all the interior shots are there.
Wow.
Now if in the movie you see there's a big party where they have like the thing where you hold people up high on a chair. They got them up there. They're partying, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm a party goer at the scene. I'm wearing a grass skirt and a Hawaiian shirt, sandals, right? And I'm just at the party and you're dancing. And I don't know how it works now, guys, because I haven't been in a movie in a long time. But back then, you couldn't make any noise, right?
Oh.
So it didn't matter if you were at a nightclub. You're dancing to no music and you're talking like this. There's no noise.
Yep.
And I've never felt sillier in my life.
Because then they add the Foley.
Yeah,
there
so me and the other extras were like, and I'm just feeling so like, this is dumb, right? But this is acting. So I remember being on the set, and in Biodome, remember they had the two girlfriends? There was the blonde and the brunette.
Yeah.
I don't remember their names. The brunette and I happened to be filming next to each other, and so we get to talking. And she's telling me, oh, I love your dress skirt. Oh, thank you. You been on any other movies? I said, well, I did and I tell her the movies, and she's like, "Oh," being polite. She's never heard of any of those movies, right? And she did a couple of things, and so that was a cool experience. And then that was the last one, right? That was the last movie that I did the extra work on. Went back to school and finished out.
Now let me ask you this: that all came from the same headshot?
Yes.
Those connections. So
Yes.
is that where people look for agents to then now use those headshots to go to other movies and other films and so on? So
had I not been in college, I could have worked that.
I see, yeah.
But I really wanted to make sure I got the education part done.
Sure.
And then it just pulls you in another direction.
Now, are those headshots still around
in
the area over there?
You want to put them on? Here's the thing that I didn't know at the time, right? And this leads to another story. I didn't know. So you know how there's filters now that your skin looks perfect and everything looks like,
Yeah.
right? And so these headshots, the photographers at that time had that technology. Now we have access to it because of our phones. Back then we didn't. So they took the picture of me and then they brushed it up where my skin looks perfect and my teeth are perfectly straight and my hair I looked amazing.
It was Photoshop back then, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, wow.
I look good.
I took a really good picture, right? And I'm showing people this picture and then they're like, that doesn't really look like you. And I go, it's me. Well, what did you do to it? And I'm like, nothing. See, I didn't know that it had been.
So I'm gonna show the viewers right now, like this shot that we have as our main opener right there on your right hand side.
Yeah,
that don't look like us at all.
Yeah, I wish my hair was that nice.
My wife says, "Yeah, you don't look that buff."
Yeah, I wish I had the arms and the abs. No, none of that.
Yeah,
but anyway, but my point is that we didn't know about this technology, so I didn't understand why those pictures came out so good. But they were using those, and that was what was floating around to get work. But to get back
for the record, give props to Juan for making us look good on that.
On that intro. Yep. Juan Tafoya, thank you so much for putting that together. You made us look awesome. So to continue the story, Jim, that wasn't the end of it for me. I wanted more, right?
Okay.
And so now I'm like, okay, I don't want to do the acting thing because that's years, and I don't know if that's me.
You were already in it. Why'd you stop?
Again, because the acting part wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do. It was more like this, the conversation, the connection, the hosting of a show.
Sure.
So now, for those who don't know, MTV had VJs, a video disc jockey, and they would be on air. Hey, guys, coming up next, we have Michael Jackson's Thriller, CN5, right? And then they...
Downtown Julie Brown.
Yeah, wubba, wubba, wubba. So I actually met her and a bunch of VJs because MTV did an open casting call for the next VJ.
Wow.
I went with Nasser. Nasser as my witness. We went down to LA and we auditioned. I got through the first round.
So going back to the no internet, how are you finding out that they're
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The radio.
Really?
Hey guys, get down to LA tomorrow. We're gonna have right.
Yeah.
So LA, they were announcing it all over the radio.
Your mom at the time was down there still?
Oh, and MTV was announcing it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Was your mom in LA at this time?
She was in San Pedro.
Okay.
And she was kind of out of the business now.
But not referring new opportunities for you.
No.
Saying, hey, mijo, come on over here.
No.
You know, whatever.
Now it's me and Nasser figuring this out.
Oh, boy.
And so Nasser drives me down there for the day. And then we do he was there for the headshots.
Oh, okay. Nas is a good friend of both of ours, if you guys don't
know.
You'll
guys see him in episode 2.
Yeah.
He's got glasses, cigar.
Yeah.
So anyway, Nasser drives me down for the day. We stand in line for hours, 6 a.m. We wait, and then you get in front like a camera like this, and there's a 2 or 3, 4 producers for MTV in there. So what do you do? Oh, I'm this and that. And what do you like? And so I was like, I got to make her laugh. So I won't tell you the joke that I used to make her laugh because I'll tell you off camera, but I got her to laugh.
Nice.
And here's the thing and you guys who've been out to Hollywood, you know this. They've got 15 cameras on you and a very lights foreign, and there's 30 strangers you've never met before. And they go, hey, just be yourself. There's nothing about the environment that you are putting me in that makes me feel like myself.
True.
Right? But that's the art. Can you hone in and connect and just be yourself? Right?
So it's interesting. So all these shows that are, name one with who are the singers that go up there and sing?
Oh, American Idol, The Voice.
So
America's Got Talent.
They're all outside waiting for hours to be seen. Not all of them make it.
Thank you for bringing that up.
And but I've always wondered, they point out stories about these people before they are on the show in front of the judges.
Yeah.
How in the heck did they figure out to film a short little interview with those people to then use before they're actually auditioned?
The producers have their they're like, assistants and stuff. And those guys are working the lines.
So they are interviewing and going to each people and finding out.
Not every single one.
Sure, yeah.
But they've got an eye for it now.
Those people that are telling jokes and being
Yes.
a little bit out of their,
animated or dressed a certain way. And those who go to audition, they know this.
Yeah.
And they know the game now. You figure out the game after a while, especially with the reality show stuff. And so we're in line for the VJ stuff, and they're getting footage, and they're scanning, and they're asking, and they're pulling aside for interviews for different people. So you kind of see it happening, right? And so then I didn't get it there. And then I'm living in the Bay Area, Sunnyvale now, another open call. And so I go with Mike Esparza, my other friend, for the second one. I get to the second round again. And obviously it didn't work out. But for a long time, I wanted to do the VJ, the hosting gig.
Yeah.
And then I also think back to Arsenio Hall. And I loved that he would have some of his favorite music artists on his show and get to ask them questions. To me, it's a win-win because I get to ask you questions about your life, and then I see you perform, and I've got the best seat in the house.
Sure.
That's a dream job.
Yeah.
So that's where this is headed. People always ask, well, what are you guys trying to do? And for me, I want a live audience talk show where I can bring in some of my favorite musical artists and have some amazing, interesting guests and ask them questions.
And and we've done a lot. We're over a year in Christmas. We just had our first year. And I see now a little bit more of that vision that you had. I do, not a little bit more. I do see a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it does make a difference when we have guests now. And you were just saying this earlier, is people are starting to talk about the show. They're starting to get aware of knowing, it's not just this normal, whatever. They're starting to know, like, no, it's a legit show, and that we're doing it.
Well, that's where I'm going to give you props, right? The visual is everything. If we were in my cousin's closet and you could see the bed in the background.
Oh, the fish tank.
No, the fish tank is.
Yeah, it was nice.
I want to bring it back.
Yeah, no, but you need one that's like.
I need
like
one.
Vegas.
Yeah, but what you have, Jim, you have that eye, and when I was doing the Hollywood stuff, it kind of blew my mind because you would see these movie sets or television or TV show sets. You see them on television; they look huge, but they have a look. They're detailed. The lighting is well, right? And so it looks like this amazing space. And then you go and be an audience member, and it's a tiny little corner.
Yeah.
But it's so camera friendly.
Yeah.
And that's what you've done with this space is you've made it real camera friendly. You've attention to detail. A lot of things that I don't care about because I don't know what they end up looking like.
Yeah.
And you've done a great job of making this look like a legitimate production.
I appreciate
and so now people, they respond to that.
Sure.
Like, hey, I want to be on a show that looks real, that looks like people are taking their craft seriously and putting in the time to make it legit.
Well, and during COVID, I did see, we all saw how many of these shows started, and they were recording first on Zoom and, all these different networks, but they were doing it in their kitchens. They were doing it in their garages and trying to do something similar to what Hollywood has kind of portrayed as that Arsenio Hall look, and so on. So you kind of know what your camera lens, I would know what my camera lens needs to see, but the audience sees it differently when they're here. But I'm gonna say this is a bitchin' upstairs studio. I mean, we got
he pulled
nice,
the '80s word out, folks. You hear that one?
We got arcades and pool tables, so it's an entertainment all in itself.
It's a full experience.
It's a full experience, yeah. So, and when the guests come here, they are wowed on the fact that they have. I mean, from the outside it doesn't look good, but from when you come inside, but then
you want to talk about that for a minute?
No, I don't. But, we're on the boonies. So, but I do like the impression when they leave that they come saying, "Wow, this was not what I expected,"
and that they had fun, right?
100%.
So check this out. We got a compliment. I'm not gonna say who it was because that I'll leave that to them. But recently, remember I shared the compliment with you? I'm going to tell the audience about this because it moved me. So we had a guest that I've been working on trying to get in here, for a long time. Very reputable, very connected in the Central Valley, has accomplished a lot. And I asked him about podcasts, and he says, well, I say no a lot. And I said, why is that? And he goes, well, I value my time just like you do. And I want to work with people who are putting in the work, who are honing their craft, who are taking it seriously, who are, bringing value to what they're doing. And I said, yeah. And he goes, that's why I said yes to you guys. The production value's there. You guys seem to be trying to work on your craft. You're putting out an episode every week. You're consistent. And he said, I would, based on what I've seen so far, you guys are one of the top Central Valley podcasts right now.
That's pretty good, man.
And yeah. And he said that. And again, the reason it meant so much to me to hear it, because, I love my mom. I love my family. I love my friends. But because they love us, they're very kind in their assessment. Oh, you're doing a great job and everything's fabulous, right? So when you have a neutral party who has no motivation for the compliment, it carries like, wow, okay, this is real. Like, they're not just being nice. They really see some value in what we're doing.
Especially when they come back and out of the blue throw a one-liner at you like, why didn't you ask that guy this? Or, it's certain things like, wow, you actually listened?
Yeah.
You watched? Thank you.
Yeah, it's a compliment.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I appreciate the critique because it means you paid enough attention to notice it.
Yeah, and that was 33 minutes into the show. Dang, you really did pay attention.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And so now that's starting to happen. And I'm excited for that because the whole idea with this is to get whatever value or message we have out to a larger audience. People who may not have access to some of the people that we're interviewing. Just like me, like when I wanted to learn about an artist that I was excited about, I would watch Arsenio Hall, or I would watch The Ellen Show, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and then they'd have a guest, and then they ask that guest questions, and I'd learn about that guest through that questioning. Guests that I would never have a chance to sit down with because I don't know them. I'm not in those circles. And so for us, we're bringing in people from different walks of life that maybe our audience wouldn't run into because, they do different things. If I'm in education, I don't necessarily see newscasters all the time.
Yeah.
And so when we bring someone on the show from a different walk of life and we ask intriguing questions and they get to answer them, that provides value for our audience. And that's what we're really trying to do. Is like every time I sit back here, I go, okay, if I were watching this show, what would I want to know about this person? And then you were really good about the background questions. You're like, so how did you land on the color blue? What? That's a classic Jim. Like, what? But people want to know that stuff.
Well, I ask it like if I was out there listening, and not to say I'm dumb, but I dumbify a lot of questions to say, hey, I don't get that. What do you mean by that? But and I do the audience too. I think I like the fact that we have control over asking the questions. Nothing's premeditated. We ask, and some of these guests have came out and told us some seriously hidden secret stories that they came out and told us on air, and that's real. And that's what I love about the show is that it's really that opportunity. It's like, okay, I'm not just talking to some high schooler kid about whatever. I'm now talking about losing 300 and some pounds. I'm talking about writing our first book about my wife who passed away, giving birth to our first son. You start thinking about some of these shows we've done that you're like, damn, this is deep, Rob. Some of the stuff that they're telling. And I think that the audience sees that or hears it.
You're right. And mentioning, some of our past guests, think about it like it's expanded our circle of friends.
Yeah.
Those are 55 different individuals who have shared some really important or maybe even intimate stories with us, and we're now connected. Yeah. I can go back and text or call any of them and reach out and see how they're doing. And we follow up on a lot of guests. I'm going to give you guys an update right now that just happened last week. Matthew Westwood, who was on the show about 2-3 weeks ago. Well, one of the things that he does, he's an Uber driver. Unfortunately, there was an attempted carjack.
I saw that, yeah.
And we're very happy to report to you guys, or anyone who watched that episode and follows him. Matthew is fine. The guy was arrested and no one was harmed in the carjacking. But I remember calling him to check in on him. And, you know, we these guests become our friends in some ways. Yeah. And so that was very cool that he was okay. Matthew, we want to have you come back on the show and continue to tell your stories if you want to come out. But we're glad that you are safe and healthy and continue your YouTube work.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going to wrap that one up right now, guys. Again, this is the episode where we talked about how Rob ended up in the movies. We're going to try to share some more stuff about ourselves in the future, but this is an experimental episode?
You know, I like these because it gives a different perspective of who we are, you know, instead of just tuning in to listen to the guests.
Yeah.
You know, they really tune in to hear you and us talk. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it Leslie who said it? Like,
no, my sister-in-law made a comment. Yeah, and I give her props because she says, you know, you don't always have to have a guest. We'd like to hear more about you guys.
What's your story?
I'm like, you know, and I took it for granted, thinking, you know, we have. Oh no, this is protocol. We have to have guests. We have to do this, and no, and I think in general, if anyone's listening or watching, put some shout outs out there and tell us what you'd like to know more about us. I mean, we're just kind of guessing what, you know, other than the animated new intro that we have that makes me look buff and you know, whatever. You don't really know who we are. So yeah. So but I think that's a different type of perspective that most podcasters don't give out. You know, they already either know who Joe Rogan is and they already know who these people are, and you could go down a rabbit hole on all these different type of podcasts that are video podcasts. And then when you tune in, you're like, I have no idea who he is. He's just a guy sitting at a kitchen table, you know, and I think this is an opportunity for you guys to let us know what you want to hear or talk about. So
there it is, folks. Jim has challenged you. Put in the comments or send us an email. We'll put the email to link in there as well. And what do you want to hear about? What would you like to know about us? We're willing to share. And until next time, right?
Yeah.
From Jim Chance, Rob Izquierdo Jr., we are last day of school as teachers, so summer's coming.
We are excited.
Banging out some episodes, right?
Excited, brother.
Yeah, until next time, like, subscribe, love, peace, chicken grease. We out.